You think you're here by choice. You're not. Somewhere, seconds ago, you made a decision that created this exact moment. Not a conscious decision, not something you wrote down or spoke out loud, but a quantum decision, a split, a fracture in the fabric of your reality that determined whether you would stay asleep or begin to wake up. Most people will never know they made this choice. They'll scroll past this moment, return to their feeds, and continue living in the timeline where nothing ever changes. But you didn't. You're still here. And that means something deeper is happening beneath the surface of your awareness. Before we go any further, I want you to do something right now. Type in the comments exactly what you want to manifest in your life. Not what you think sounds good. Not what you hope might happen someday. Write down what you're ready to commit to becoming. The act of writing it down is not symbolic. It's a declaration to the quantum field that you're choosing a specific timeline. Say it out loud after you write it. Feel the vibration of those words leaving your body and entering the space around you. This isn't mysticism. This is mechanics. You're about to understand why. Let's start with something you've never been told. Your attention doesn't just observe reality. It constructs it. Every single moment you focus on something, you collapse infinite possibilities into a single outcome. Right now, as you listen to these words, you're not passively receiving information. You're actively selecting which version of yourself continues forward. There are versions of you that stopped listening 30 seconds ago. They made a different choice. They're living in a different timeline now, one where this knowledge never reached them. The universe operates on a principle so simple, it's almost offensive. What you observe becomes real, not metaphorically real, actually real. Quantum physicists discovered this nearly a century ago, and most of them still can't accept the implications. When they measured subatomic particles, they found that those particles existed in multiple states simultaneously until someone looked at them. The moment observations occurred, all possibilities collapsed into one concrete reality. You are not separate from this process. You are the observer. And every thought you hold, every belief you reinforce, every pattern you repeat, is an instruction to the field of infinite potential, telling it which reality to construct around you. Think about your life right now. The patterns that keep repeating. The same situations with different faces. The same obstacles with different names. You've probably wondered why nothing seems to change, no matter how hard you try. Here's why. You're not trying to change, you're trying to fix. And fixing assumes something is broken. It assumes the current reality is the only reality. It keeps you locked in the same timeline, rearranging furniture in a burning house. But there's another way, and it starts with understanding the mirror principle. Reality is not happening to you. Reality is happening through you. It's a reflection of what's happening inside your consciousness. When you look in a mirror and see a smudge on your face, you don't try to wipe the mirror clean. You wipe your face. The mirror simply shows you what's there. Reality works the same way. The external world is showing you what exists in your internal world. Your relationships reflect your relationship with yourself. Your financial situation reflects your beliefs about worthiness and abundance. Your health reflects the harmony or chaos in your mental and emotional state. This isn't blame. This is power. Because if reality is a mirror, then you're not a victim of circumstances. You're the artist holding the brush. Every thought is a stroke. Every emotion is a color. Every decision is a choice about what you're painting into existence. Right now, pause this video for 10 seconds. Look at your surroundings. Everything you see was once a thought in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the device you're holding, the room you're in. Thoughts became things, and your thoughts are becoming things too. The question is, are you thinking the thoughts that create the life you want, or are you recycling the thoughts that created the life you're trying to escape? Here's where it gets strange, and I need you to stay with me, because this is where most people turn back. Every single moment of awareness creates a split, a fork in the road, two timelines. One timeline continues with the patterns you've been running. The same fears, the same doubts, the same version of yourself that questions whether anything will ever be different. That timeline is still out there. It exists, and there are versions of you living in it right now. But there's another timeline, the one where you chose differently, the one where you said yes to discipline, the one where you wrote down your goals and actually believed they were possible, the one where you stopped waiting for permission and started acting like the person you're becoming. That timeline exists too. And the moment you clicked on this video, you began moving toward it. The split isn't always obvious. It doesn't announce itself with thunder and lightning. It's quiet, subtle, a whisper in your mind that says, keep going when everything else says stop. A tiny impulse to do something different, even though you don't know why. A moment of stillness where you realize you're tired of living the same day over and over. That's the split. And once you recognize it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing the two paths everywhere. Every decision becomes a choice between the old timeline and the new one. Do I scroll for another hour, or do I work on my goals? Do I react with anger, or do I pause and choose differently? Do I stay comfortable, or do I step into the unknown? Most people live their entire lives in the old timeline. Not because they're lazy, or broken, or destined to fail, but because they never knew the split existed. They never knew they had a choice. They thought life was something that happened to them, not something they participated in creating. So they repeat the same loops, blame the same circumstances, and wonder why nothing changes. But you're different. You're here, and that means you felt the split. Maybe you didn't have words for it yet. Maybe you just felt a restlessness, a knowing that there's more, a hunger for something you can't quite name. That hunger is your soul recognizing the other timeline, the one where you're aligned with your purpose, the one where discipline isn't a burden, it's a gateway, the one where manifestation isn't magic, it's the natural result of matching your frequency with your desires. Let me be very clear about something. Manifestation is not about sitting on your couch visualizing $1 million and waiting for it to fall from the sky. That's fantasy. Manifestation is about becoming the version of yourself that already has what you desire, and then taking action from that state. It's about writing down your goals, not as wishes, but as commitments. It's about speaking your truth out loud, even when your voice shakes. It's about believing in yourself so completely that your actions have no choice but to align with your vision. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. And who you are is determined by what you consistently think, feel, and do. If you think like a victim, you'll create circumstances that victimize you. If you think like a creator, you'll create circumstances that empower you. It's not punishment or reward. It's reflection. So here's what I want you to understand. The forgotten split already happened. It happened the moment you became aware that something needed to change. It happened when you realized you're capable of more than you've been living. It happened when you stopped accepting the default timeline and started searching for another way. That search led you here, and now you're being given information that will either transform your life or confirm your old story. The choice is yours. But let me tell you something else. That choice isn't easy. Because the moment you step into the new timeline, the old one fights back. It has to. It's been your home for years, maybe decades. It's comfortable, familiar, safe. Even if it's painful, it's known pain. And the mind prefers known pain to unknown possibility. This is where the test begins. Not a test from some external force, not the universe trying to punish you or see if you're worthy. The test comes from your former self, the version of you that lived in the old timeline. That version doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to be left behind, so it creates doubt. It creates fear. It creates every excuse and obstacle it can to pull you back into the familiar pattern. You'll notice this test showing up everywhere once you start moving toward the new timeline. Old habits will suddenly become more tempting. People from your past will reappear. Unexpected problems will demand your attention. You'll feel more tired, more overwhelmed, more uncertain than you've felt in a long time. And a voice in your head will whisper, "See? Nothing's changed. You're fooling yourself. Just go back to what you know." That voice is not your intuition. It's not wisdom. It's not the universe telling you you're on the wrong path. It's the death rattle of your old identity. And if you can recognize it for what it is, you can move through it without giving up. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. It feels good when it's there, but it disappears the moment things get hard. Discipline is a decision. It's a commitment you make to the new timeline, even when the old one is screaming at you to come back. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that you've actually chosen differently. Write this down right now. Say it out loud. I am committed to the version of myself that already exists in the timeline I'm choosing. I will not let fear, doubt, or old patterns determine my future. I am the observer, and I choose what becomes real. Do you feel that? That shift in your body when you say it? That's not imagination. That's frequency. You just sent a signal into the quantum field declaring your choice. And the field heard you. Now it's waiting to see if you'll back up that declaration with action. Here's what most people don't understand about alignment. Alignment isn't a destination. It's not something you reach and then relax into. Alignment is a practice. It's a daily, moment-by-moment choice to stay connected to the version of yourself that lives in the new timeline. Some days, it's easy. Some days, it's brutal. But every single time you choose alignment over comfort, you strengthen the new timeline and weaken the old one. Think of it like two paths in a forest. One path is wide, well-worn, easy to walk. That's the old timeline. The other path is overgrown, narrow, unclear. That's the new timeline. At first, walking the new path is exhausting. You have to push through branches, climb over roots, question whether you're even going the right way. But every time you walk it, the path gets a little clearer, a little easier. and eventually it becomes the well-worn path. The old path starts to fade. It becomes harder to find. And one day you realize you can't even remember what it looked like. That's how transformation works. Not all at once, not in a single moment of enlightenment, but through consistent, deliberate choices that compound over time. Every time you do the hard thing, you're clearing the new path. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're building the new timeline. Every time you write down your goals and say them out loud, you're reinforcing the frequency of who you're becoming. And here's the beautiful part. The more you walk the new path, the more evidence you start to see that it's working. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. People show up who align with your new energy. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. It's not magic, it's alignment. You're finally broadcasting a signal that matches what you actually want, and the universe is responding in kind. But you have to stay vigilant, because the old timeline never fully disappears. It's always there, waiting for you to slip back into old patterns. A bad day, a moment of weakness, a conversation that triggers old wounds, and suddenly you're back on the familiar path, wondering how you got there. This is normal. This is part of the process. The key is recognizing it quickly and choosing again, not judging yourself, not spiraling into shame, just noticing and choosing differently. Self-compassion is not the same as self-indulgence. Self-compassion says, I made a choice that didn't serve me, and now I'm choosing again. Self-indulgence says, I already failed, so I might as well keep failing. One moves you forward, the other keeps you stuck. Learn to tell the difference. Let's talk about the quantum decision, the real one. The one that's happening right now as you listen to these words. You think the decision was clicking on this video? It wasn't. The decision is whether you're going to let this information change you, or whether you're going to file it away as interesting and return to your default state. Most people consume informations like entertainment. They watch, they listen, they nod along, and then they go back to their lives unchanged. The information never integrates, it never becomes embodied. It's just more noise in an already noisy mind. But you can choose differently. You can let this be the moment where everything shifts, not because the information is special, but because you decided to make it special. You decided to act on it, to test it, to prove to yourself that you're serious about stepping into the new timeline. Here's what that looks like practically. When this video ends, you're going to have a choice. You can close it and scroll to the next thing, or you can sit in silence for 60 seconds and let everything you just heard settle into your body. Then you can open a notebook or your phone and write down 3 specific actions you're going to take in the next 24 hours that align with the new timeline. Not vague intentions, specific actions. And then you're going to do them. Not when you feel motivated, not when it's convenient. You're going to do them because you committed to becoming someone who keeps their word. That's the quantum decision. The moment you stop consuming and start embodying. The moment you stop wishing and start building. The moment you recognize that the split already happened, and now you just have to walk the path. I want to tell you something that might be hard to hear. You're being tested right now. Not by me. Not by the universe. By yourself. The version of you that's tired of mediocrity. The version of you that knows you're capable of more. That version is watching to see if you're finally ready to match your actions with your desires. And if you are, everything changes. Not all at once, but consistently, undeniably, inevitably. The test isn't about perfection. It's about commitment. It's about choosing the new timeline, even when the old one feels safer. It's about discipline, even when motivation fades. It's about believing in yourself, even when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. Because here's the truth. The evidence follows the belief, not the other way around. You don't wait for proof that you can change before you start changing. You start changing and the proof appears. So many people are waiting for a sign, waiting for permission, waiting for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment is always now. The sign is the fact that you're here. The permission comes from you deciding you don't need permission. This is the moment, this video, this choice, this decision to stop living in the shadow of your potential and start embodying it. Write it down. Say it out loud. I am choosing the timeline where I am disciplined, aligned, and unstoppable. I am the observer who collapses infinite possibilities into the reality I desire. I am done waiting. I am done doubting. I am ready. If you're still watching, you already made the choice. Somewhere in the last 40 minutes, you crossed a threshold. You moved from curiosity to commitment, from passive listening to active participation. You felt the split. And whether you realize it fully yet or not, you chose the new timeline. The old one is still there, still calling, still familiar, but it's fading. Because every second you stay aligned with this message, you strengthen the new path and weaken the old one. This timeline continues because of your choice, not because I made a video, not because the algorithm showed it to you, because you decided to stay, to listen, to consider the possibility that you're more powerful than you've been taught to believe. That decision is already changing your reality. The quantum field registered it. The version of you in the new timeline felt it. And now the only question is how committed you are to walking that path every single day. Here's my invitation. Don't let this moment fade. Don't let this become another piece of content you consumed and forgot. Make it real. Make it embodied. Make it the turning point you look back on a year from now and say, that was when everything changed. Write down your commitment. Say it out loud. Share it in the comments if you're brave enough. Let the act of declaring it publicly lock you into the new timeline. And then tomorrow, when you wake up and the old patterns start whispering, remember this moment. Remember that you chose differently. Remember that the split already happened. And choose again, and again, and again, until the new path is the only path. Until the new timeline is the only timeline. Until the version of you that doubted and hesitated and stayed small is nothing but a distant memory of who you used to be before you woke up. You passed the test by being here. Now prove to yourself that you meant it. The universe is watching, not to judge you, to support you. Because the moment you commit, it commits too. The moment you believe, it believes too. The moment you act, it acts too. This is how reality works. This is the quantum decision, and you just made it. Now, go build the life that matches it.